Alright, this next story is about a woman who got a new job, worked there for less than 2 weeks, and somehow ended up being threatened over her hair? At first, I thought this was going to be a simple workplace disagreement. It was not. A 26-year-old woman had recently started working as a receptionist for a small business. Everything seemed fine during the interview process and during her first few days. Then one day, her manager pulled her aside and told her that the owner of the company didn't like the way her hair looked. According to the owner, if she didn't change it, she wouldn't be able to move forward within the company. Imagine getting hired, passing the interview, starting the job, and then suddenly your appearance becomes a problem? Like, what changed? That would immediately make me nervous. The strange part was that she was already following company policy. Employees with long hair were required to wear it in a ponytail. And that's exactly what she was doing. The owner simply felt that her hair looked messy. The woman explained that she naturally had curly, wavy, and frizzy hair. No matter how much effort she put into it, it would never look perfectly smooth. But there was another reason she styled it the way she did. She suffered from significant hair loss caused by medical issues and had noticeable bald patches around her hairline. To hide them, she wore her hair in a looser ponytail with bangs framing her face. And you know what? That is where things go all different. She explained that she had struggled with anxiety, depression, eating disorders, and body image issues for years. Because of that, she felt extremely embarrassed about the hair loss and wasn't comfortable exposing the bald patches at work. Look, let's say you find a hairstyle that gives you a tiny bit of confidence, and then your boss says, "Well, yeah, I don't think so." Like, come on. At this point, she's not breaking company policy. She's not showing up looking unprofessional. She's literally trying to manage a medical condition while doing her job. And frankly, I would have gotten like so many red flags from this company. At this point, you'd think any reasonable boss would hear the words medical condition and immediately back off, right? Like, "Oh, I didn't realize, sorry about that." End of conversation. Unfortunately, that's not what happened. A few days later, the owner brought up the issue again. The woman explained the hair loss and the medical problems behind it. The owner acknowledged the explanation, but still insisted there was a problem. Then the conversation got really weird. The owner asked, "Can you brush it?" The employee replied, "I do brush it every morning." The owner responded, "Well, can you brush it?" What? No, seriously. What kind of answer was she expecting there? Can you brush it? I already do. Okay, but can you brush it? Like, we're just going in circles now. At that point, I'd be wondering if the conversation accidentally reset and I got stuck in an NPC dialogue loop. And this is the moment where it stops feeling like genuine feedback. Because if someone gives you a concern, and you explain it, and then they completely ignore the explanation, the problem probably isn't the hair. It starts feeling like she was actively looking for something to criticize. Not a solution, not an explanation, just something to complain about. The woman eventually stopped arguing and went back to work. Later that day, she received her paycheck, and that's when she noticed another issue. The hourly rate was lower than what she had originally been promised when she was hired. Her first paycheck had already been slightly lower. Now, it had dropped even further. The difference wasn't huge, but it was enough to make her realize something. This wasn't just about her hair. There it is. The paycheck came in lower than promised. The whole situation started making a lot more sense. Because now we're not talking about a boss who's overly picky. We're talking about a company that says one thing and does another. First, they're obsessing over her hair. Then they're ignoring a medical explanation. Now they're paying her less than what she was told she'd be making. Yeah, that's not a hair problem. That's a company problem. And honestly, once trust is gone like that, it's really hard to get it back. The next day, she called in sick and spent the entire day applying for other jobs. She contacted temp agencies, submitted applications online, and started looking for literally anything better. And surprisingly, it didn't take long. She quickly landed an interview. Then, the very next day, she got the job. Not gonna lie, that's actually kind of satisfying. Nothing proves a bad employer wrong faster than immediately finding a better opportunity. The new position paid more money, the people seemed much friendlier, and, shockingly, nobody had any issues with her hair. Crazy how that works. After accepting the offer, she called her old workplace and quit. And the funniest part? They didn't even answer the phone. Seriously? After all that drama? All those complaints? All that nitpicking? They couldn't even be bothered to pick up the phone? Honestly, that's the perfect ending. No big argument, no dramatic showdown, no long speech about why she's leaving. She just found something better and walked away. Sometimes that's the best revenge. The story didn't end there. After posting online, a Reddit user actually mailed her a box filled with hair care products and other items to help her confidence. The woman said she was overwhelmed by the kindness. She also mentioned that her boyfriend had always known about the bald patches and never cared. In fact, one of the first things he ever told her was how much he loved her hair. And honestly, that's easily the best part of the whole thing. The boss spent all this time acting like her hair was some massive deal breaker, but her boyfriend didn't care at all. The new company didn't give a damn either, and some random stranger on the internet literally sent her a care package. It just shows you the only person obsessed with it was that one toxic boss. So, final breakdown? She got out of there, scored a better paying job, completely escaped a miserable workplace, got a ton of love from people who actually matter, and realized the problem was never her hair in the first place. But I'm curious, what would you have done in this situation? Would you have quit immediately, or would you have tried sticking it out a little longer? And let me know down below, was the boss being completely unreasonable, or do you think there was something we're missing here? And be honest, after that whole "can you brush it" conversation, would you have kept a straight face? Because I genuinely don't know if I could have.